You wake up exhausted. You go to bed exhausted. And nothing is changing. And you tell yourself it's burnout, overwork, stress. But it's not. You're not tired from what you're doing. You're tired from what you're carrying. And some of it isn't responsibility. It's people. Dead weight. People who drain. People who only take. People who call when they need something and disappear when you do. That's not support. That's usage. And you've been carrying it. Relationships that cost. Standards you abandoned. Boundaries you tolerate crossing. Each one, a weight you carry daily. And weight accumulates, not visibly, internally, until exhaustion becomes your baseline, and you stop questioning it. Stay until the end, because I'll show you how to identify what's draining you, and the exact process to drop it without guilt. Here's what most people don't understand. Energy isn't infinite. It's a resource. And like all resources, it gets allocated to people, to problems, to patterns. And every allocation that doesn't return value isn't generosity, it's loss. And when someone consistently takes without returning, you're not helping. You're being used, not emotionally, structurally. It costs you energy and provides nothing. And the human body wasn't designed to carry what it doesn't need. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." Most people do the opposite. They carry yesterday's resentments, tomorrow's anxieties, other people's problems, other people's expectations, and sometimes other people's responsibilities. And all of it sits on their shoulders, invisible, but heavy. And heaviness masquerades as tiredness. But they're not the same. Tiredness recovers with rest. Heaviness requires release. Let me show you how to identify dead weight. Ask yourself, what in my life takes energy but gives nothing back? Not sometimes. Consistently. A person who only calls when they need something. Dead weight. A relationship where you're the only one maintaining it. Dead weight. A commitment you made years ago that no longer serves you. Dead weight. A boundary you don't enforce because enforcement feels uncomfortable. Dead weight. Each one costs you. Daily. And daily costs become permanent drains. Here's the shift. You don't need a vacation. You need subtraction. You don't need to rest more. You need to carry less. Because rest without removal changes nothing. And carrying less doesn't mean quitting everything. It means releasing what's already dead. The friendship that ended years ago, but you keep on life support. Let it die. The obligation you resent, but continue out of guilt. Release it. The standard you lowered and never raised again. Restore it, not loudly, quietly, through withdrawal of energy from what doesn't deserve it. If this is hitting, subscribe. Because this isn't productivity advice. This is energy management. And energy management determines everything else. Manage it poorly, and nothing works. Manage it well, and everything becomes easier. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life." Most people accumulate instead of eliminate. They add relationships, add commitments, add responsibilities, and wonder why they're drowning. Happiness doesn't come from addition. It comes from subtraction. Subtracting what costs more than it provides. And what costs more than it provides is dead weight. By definition. Here's what people miss. They think letting go means they failed. It doesn't. It means they evolved. What served you 3 years ago might be draining you now. And holding on to it out of loyalty isn't noble. It's self-betrayal. And no one rewards self-betrayal. Loyalty to what drains you is disloyalty to yourself. and self-disloyalty always costs more than any relationship is worth. Here's the rule. If it takes more than it gives, consistently, it's dead weight. Not negotiable. Not up for debate. Dead weight. And dead weight has one destination: the ground. Not because you're cruel, because you're finite. And finite energy requires deliberate allocation. I used to carry everything, every person's problem, every relationship's weight, every commitment I ever made, even ones that stopped making sense years ago. And I told myself I was tired because I was working hard. I wasn't. I was tired because I was carrying dead weight. A friendship where I was the only one reaching out. A commitment that served someone else's agenda, not mine. Standards I abandoned to keep peace with people who didn't value me. Each one, a stone in my backpack, and I kept adding stones without ever taking any out. And I called that loyalty. What it really was overextension and quiet self-neglect. One day I stopped, because I realized exhaustion wasn't noble. It was avoidable. Not because I became selfish, because I realized some of the weight I carried belonged to people who were comfortable letting me carry it. And the moment I saw that, everything changed. Exhaustion wasn't my natural state. It was the result of carrying weight I was never meant to hold. So I started dropping, not dramatically, quietly. I stopped reaching out to people who never reciprocated. I stopped solving problems that weren't mine. I stopped over-explaining to people who benefited from my guilt. And something happened. Not instantly, gradually. Energy returned. But something else returned too. Clarity. And the dynamic shifted. Because the moment you stop carrying someone, they feel it. The moment you stop supplying energy, they notice. Not always consciously, but structurally. Access changes, expectations change, treatment changes. Here's what the Stoics knew. Your energy is finite. Your time is finite. And anything finite requires protection. When you give finite resources to infinite demands, you lose. Every time. Epictetus said, "If you wish to be free, desire nothing that depends on others." Your energy depending on maintaining dead weight, that's dependency. And dependency drains you. Not because the weight is heavy, because it's one-sided. Dead things don't reciprocate. People who use you rarely carry you back. They just take. And taking without giving is the definition of drain. Here's the shift. Stop carrying what you're not responsible for. Stop compensating for other people's laziness. Stop absorbing what they refuse to handle. Other people's emotions, not yours to regulate. Other people's problems, not yours to solve. Other people's expectations, not yours to meet. Each time you carry what isn't yours, you reinforce the pattern. But the moment you stop, the pattern breaks. And when the pattern breaks, the hierarchy resets. Not through conflict, through withdrawal. Final truth. You're not tired. You're overloaded. You're tolerating what should have ended. And the solution isn't more rest, it's less weight. Drop the relationships that only take. Drop the commitments that only drain. Drop the role of the one who always carries. Not out of anger, out of self-respect. Because self-respect requires boundaries, and boundaries restore power. And when you drop the weight, when you release what's been using your energy, you don't just get energy back, you get position back, you get leverage back. The version of you that existed before you became the one who carries everyone. That version isn't tired, isn't depleted, isn't available for exploitation. That version is stable, and stability changes how people treat you. You're not tired, you're overloaded. Stop carrying people who use you, not someday, today. Because the moment you stop carrying them, they either stand on their own or they fall away. And either way, you get lighter. And lighter is stronger.